Welcome to the greatest show on the internet. You asked for the best, but they weren't available, so you've got us.
Cut, take two. It's the Podcast Guys, featuring the lovely and talented musician, actor, and international Korean rock star, Loren Scott, and over 40 years in television. Hollywood stuntman, stunt coordinator, producer, and he does funny things with his eyes and his mouth. Carl Cifarlio. And I'm Keith.
Was at the supermarket, and it's crazy. This lady comes up to me and just gets all in me, and she's yelling. She's very, very angry. You know, you've got to cover your face. This isn't healthy. This isn't respectful to other people. Cover your face. Put on a mask. You can make people sick, right? And that was 1997. I want to point something out about this man. We might have been working on the local level. He had a commitment to what he was doing that was outstanding. My family left on a Friday afternoon for Las Vegas, and the start of one of the worst 3-day storms you can have. And we saw a real bad accident going up the Cajon Pass. It was like that. What we didn't know, as we spent a couple of days in Las Vegas, was that storm was creating, was it the Temecula Creek which overflowed?
Yeah, well, Marietta Creek.
Marietta Creek overflowed, which was our soap opera we did each day too. I forgot about that. And anyway, there were businesses being lost, there were homes being lost, and this storm raged through the night. This man literally lived at the station that night, because in that valley, that was a lot of people's only means of getting information. I was very impressed by your work ethic and your dedication to what you were doing, as well as being a newspaper columnist at the same time.
We actually got knocked off the air by the storm. We were in this warehouse, and the water started rising. And actually, Mark Evans and I were there together. When we got knocked off the air, Mark and I went down to see what the problem was. And we're on the second floor of this warehouse, and the water from the river buckles the big door of the warehouse, and water starts flowing in.
Wow.
It's rising, and it's always halfway up the first floor. And Mark and I are thinking, we don't know how high this is going to get, so we need to get out of here. And we did, except Mark's car. That's another story.
That's right. His car got flooded out. It was so high.
So I went home, and I just had the radio on the frequency, and they said it was going to be off for days. And about 9 o'clock that night, it came back on. The signal did, and it kicked in automatically. So I went down to the command center, and they put me on an Army vehicle, like a big, and drove me down to the radio station so that I could get on the air and broadcast the information. So it was a total team effort.
You and Mark lived at the station. I come rolling in on Monday morning. Hi, boys. How we doing? And like,
hey,
did you have a nice time in Tinseltown, you lazy creep?
Did I miss anything? Yeah.
John, do you want to talk about the Border Patrol incident at all?
We could leave that out. I mean, that was,
but maybe you can touch on that, because that was one of the most tragic things I've ever seen.
Keith and I are working together morning in June of 1992, just doing our radio. It was election day too. Just doing our regular shtick in the morning, and a phone call comes in that there's been this car accident near Temecula Valley High School. Long story short, a Border Patrol case went through 2 school zones at 7 o'clock in the morning. And there was a crash between the Suburban carrying some undocumented migrants and a dad and his son and another friend going to school. It happened right in front of the high school, split the car in half, killed the 3 people in the car, and then the Suburban flipped over and killed 2 kids walking on the sidewalk on the way. Once again, still a small town in 1992. All of a sudden, I'm in the middle of broadcasting from this, trying to figure out what's going on. I knew some of the people involved. And all of a sudden, this becomes a big national news story. And I'm the only news person on the ground there doing anything. So I'm talking to CNN, I'm talking to the LA Times, I'm talking to stations that want me to speak in Spanish. Well, that's not happening. Because it was an immigration issue, it was huge. And the saddest part, I think what Keith is referring to is there was a reporter from a Spanish language newspaper, Gloria Murillo, who was sent to the scene to cover, for their weekly newspaper, Spanish language one of them. And she got there and she's talking to one of the cops there, and she goes, "Well, I just want to make sure both my kids go to Temecula Valley High School. I want to make sure they're okay." And it was her kids that were killed when the Suburban flipped over and killed.
Oh no.
So I mean, it was a heartbreaking story all around. The community really rallied together. There were a lot of hurt feelings, a lot of tension. I mean, we have immigration problems now in 1992, and it wasn't unusual for the Border Patrol to conduct, I won't say high-speed chases, but pursuits in the region. We have Border Patrol stations that still do. And there was a lot of controversy, a lot of hard feelings. Let the city handled it well, but it was a huge tragedy and national implications. And it was unique for me because I was a small town radio guy, all of a sudden basically broadcasting to the entire country.
So the issue was when the Suburban gets off the freeway and is doing about 100 miles an hour on Rancho California Road at that time of day, going into a school zone, do you continue to pursue? John, you had a look on your face when you returned to the studio that I'm never going to forget.
Yeah.
And I don't know what exactly you had seen, but I knew you had seen
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I got there obviously after the accident, but you could tell what had happened. The other thing I remember most about that day is if you do a lot of reporting, and I've done a lot in crime scenes, tragedies, when you go to a scene like that, often you'll see the police will be talking with each other and smiling, or the firefighters will be not laughing, but and you think, wow, they're not really taking this seriously. But that's a defense mechanism. They see this stuff up hand. They have to cope with it themselves. But what I saw that day was the fire people and the police and the nurses who showed up sitting on the sidewalk crying in the aftermath. That's always stuck in my mind.
I thought the Bic, the Sharp, and the Cross companies were going out of business. I said, yeah, I thought it was a pandemic, but apparently not.
A pandemic. Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Are we out, boys?
Yeah, I think
I
I'm
think
good.
it's just us three now. If you guys have anything.
I have to pee again.
I do too.
Okay, love you. Talk to you soon. Keep
All
up
right.
the good work.
Good call, guys. All right. Bye-bye.
Mwah.